All right, I was just thinking about the UFC 203 last night that played, and I was thinking about CM Punk. And one of the things I'm noticing about, I'm reading the comments online, I'm reading articles, and I kudos to CM Punk for the way he's handling this, but I don't like the way some people are responding to him. Like people are saying he doesn't belong to UFC, he's not ready, he's not, he's not at that level. Look, man, we to be honest, we really don't know. We really don't know what level he's at. It didn't get shown. Look, just because you get taken down and you get submitted right away, don't necessarily mean you suck. Look, Carlos Condit just got taken down in the last UFC event before 203. Carlos Condit got taken down by Damian Maya in a minute and submitted like that. Carlos Condit don't suck. Damian Maya had done that to a lot of people. They didn't suck. He just did it to them. It just was what it was. So I don't like this. People saying that CM Punk he suck. He ain't take. Look, man, he got taken down. He got submitted by a better grappler. It happens. That doesn't mean you suck. If we think back, I was just thinking about it a second ago. And I was like, man, what if Brock Lesnar would have came in and fought somebody and got submitted right away? We said he sucked there. I thought about it. I was like, well, that happened. When Brock Lesnar fought Frank Mir, he got leg locked. It happens. We didn't automatically go Brock Lesnar suck. I mean, mainly because you just look at Brock Lesnar and Brock Lesnar just look like he could beat somebody. Brock Lesnar looked like he could knock a gorilla out if if he hit him right. So just on looks alone, we were giving Brock Lesnar a pass. So he's like, well, he sure don't look like he can't whoop you. He sure look like he can whoop you. So we kind of gave him a pass. But I like the mindset of CM Punk. When I saw CM Punk's mindset, the way he responded to the loss, I said I can see why that man's been successful as he has been. He has the right mindset. He has a winner's mindset. He's got the right tools to win. And I can tell you this much: the UFC's already talking about, they're gonna cut CM Punk. Okay, you go right ahead on and cut him. And Scott Coker will come right on in with Bellator and take CM Punk underneath his wing, feed him a couple tomato cans, and then say, okay, now you got your experience, go out there and make it. There's nothing wrong with that, man. Like I'm not against you have a really good fighter, you grooming them a little bit and then setting them out. Now we don't want to see you protect nobody, but you can set them up. And the UFC has done it before. I mean, there was a few European fighters getting title shots that we were kind of like, how's he getting a title shot? He ain't fought nobody. Like I remember when Dan Hardy got a shot against GSP. I think Dan Hardy had like a couple wins in a row. He had beat Mark Davis or something like that, and he was getting a title shot. And I think we were all like, why the heck is he getting a title shot? Now, I like Dan Hardy. Dan Hardy is amazing at breaking down fights and seeing like all these little intricate details that no one else sees. When he's analyzing fights. But when he got shot against GSP, as a fight fan, I was like, I don't know, because at the time GSP had like to get to GSP, you had to beat either Thiago Alves, John Fish, Josh Koscheck, or one of them. That was like the top three dogs in the race. That if you could whoop one of them, you was getting the title shot. And he didn't touch none of them, and he walked right into a title shot. So I think we were all like, how you do that? Everybody else got to go through one of them. So, but I can say though with CM Punk that I think the UFC's making a big mistake. If they cut him loose and they give him to Scott Coker, I think Scott Coker knows exactly how to handle him. I think Scott Coker will feed him tomato. He'll go find some guys that are like 0-3, 1-4, 1-5. They just won't mention their record. And he'll feed him CM Punk like 3 or 4 fights like that. And guess what? People are going to tune. I'm going to tune in. I'm going to tune in to see that fight. And a whole bunch of other people. When Scott Coker was on The Fighter and the Kid, he was talking about the ratings for Kimbo Slice. He had 5 million views for Kimbo Slice. That's how many people want to see Kimbo Slice fight. So, I mean, but I understand with the UFC, the talent is so thick, and that it's so many people clamoring to try to make a name for themselves. It's hard to build a star in the UFC because people think that if they beat a star, they become a star, and that's just not true. And I can give you clear examples that, people when Ronda Rousey came along, everybody thought they would beat Ronda Rousey, they were going to be the next big thing. Ronda Rousey became a star because of her personality, because people could identify with her, because of the way she looked. There was a lot of contributing factors to Ronda Rousey becoming a star. A lot of young females could look at Ronda Rousey and go, "Hey, she looks just like me. She doesn't look like this mutant and athletic woman." I shouldn't say mutant. That's mean. She didn't look like Holly Holm. Holly Holm is a very athletic, fit woman. Like, she looks like, when you look at her arms, and then she's got guns, and she's got good back muscles, she's got good muscle development all over. I mean, she could easily stop fighting and be a physique competitor. I mean, I don't know why you do that. Ain't no money in it, but she has that type of a body. That's not Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey was a star because of who she was, the way she looked. The females could identify with her. She didn't look like this muscular, Chris Cyborg type character. She looked like a regular girl. Besides her arms being her arms are really, really thick. But besides that, she didn't look any different from anybody else. And she was marking everybody. That's somebody everybody can rally behind, because they go, wow, she looks just like me, and look what she's capable of. That's empowering to you. You show me a rascal look just like me, and he whooping everybody. That's empowering. Like, yeah, look at my man over there. Got everything I got, and he whooping everybody. So when Holly Holm beat Ronda Rousey, she was a star for a minute, and then it blew over. And that's the reality of it. Is a lot of people think that if I can beat this person, like a lot of people look at Conor McGregor and go, if I can beat Conor McGregor, I'm gonna be a big star. No, you're not. Look, you're gonna get a money fight. That's what a lot of guys, you gotta understand. When you fight Conor McGregor, you get a money fight. You about to make more now than you made the rest of your career. But that's it. You ain't gonna be no big star after this. Not unless you somebody like Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz needed a Conor McGregor. Like, Conor McGregor is a big star. Like, he can fight whoever, and he's a big star. Nate Diaz is kind of like Mayweather Pacquiao. At the time Mayweather Pacquiao were trying to put that together, Mayweather could fight anybody, and he was going to do 1 million pay-per-view buys. Pacquiao, not so much. Pacquiao needed Mayweather more than Mayweather needed Pacquiao. That's Nate Diaz and McGregor. McGregor could make more money with Nate Diaz than he could anybody else, but Nate Diaz was going to make more money than he ever made with McGregor. He wasn't going to make that kind of money with anybody else. So it's a lot of that going on in the UFC that people think they take out the star, I'm going to be the new star. It doesn't work that way. You got to, if you don't have that much personality, you don't have that much anything, you're just going to be the guy that beat Ronda Rousey. You're going to be the guy that beat Conor McGregor, and people will forget you. After they realize you don't have no charisma, no charm, you can't do interviews very well, you'll blow over. But the one thing I can say about the guy that CM Punk fought, I think was Mickey Gall or whatever his name is, he did the right thing, and I'd like to see more fighters do it. And that's calling somebody out. Look, when you win a fight, you got everybody, you got thousands of people in our arena, 18,000 people, you got millions of people watching at home, and they ask you, who do you want to fight next? You need to have a name in mind. Don't just say, I'll fight whoever UFC wants to give me the next. I want to fight the best. I want to be the champ. Look, we've heard all that before, and most of that is BS. Have a name. Don't let Joe Silva, pick your fight. You pick your own fight. And the one thing I say smart about that Mickey Gall kid is he called out Sage Northcutt, and that's a good match for him. That's a young fighter who has shown a weakness for the ground game. He's shown a weakness for the ground game, and he's a big name right now. And once again, that's part of it because his charisma, the way he looks, he seems to be a really young, positive guy with a good head on his shoulder, and of course, he's built up. He looks like a fighter. No gut, no stomach, none of that. He looks like a ripped fighter. So, him calling out Sage Northcutt is a good move on his part. And I'd like to see more fighters do it. Now, once you get to the championship level, I don't care if you call anybody. You the champ. I don't need champ calling nobody out. Like Steve Miocic asking who you want to fight next. Who cares? I'm the champ. Who wants to fight me next? But these other guys that get in there and they win a fight and they go, oh, I'll fight whoever next. And whoever the UFC wants to give in. Nah, man. Yeah. Call somebody out. Call the top 5. If you want to get to the belt, call the top 5 opponent out. And get yourself to the belt quicker. So that was just my thoughts on it. I like the way CM Punk has handled this whole situation. I see it as a success for him more than a failure because, he showed, you can win. It's easy to win gracefully, but it's not easy to lose gracefully. And he still spoke positive words. He still had a good message after he lost, and he still has a mindset to win. I mean, he's got a winner's mindset. I can't see him not succeeding in whatever he set his mind to, because he's got his mind set in that direction. So for a lot of other guys, it's different mentally. You can see him kind of cracking. Like, I give you a good example, like Travis Brown. When he lost, he just seemed lost in the fight with Verdum. I can't be. One thing I saw on the UFC tour, I saw a highlight video of Verdum and Travis Brown at the end of the fight, and Verdum kicked Travis Brown coach. I knew he had put his foot up, but I didn't. And when I was watching it, I didn't see exactly what happened, mostly because I was playing on my phone. Once the fight is over, I don't care. I kind of, even if it goes to a judge decision, like, I'm 90% sure who won the fight. Most of the time. I get surprised sometimes. I know the first fight on the card was a split decision. I didn't think it should be. I can't remember the guy's name, but I remember it being a split decision. I was like, I don't think that should have been a split decision. But with the Verdum, he kicked Travis Brown's coach. It wasn't a serious kick. It wasn't a kick meant to, like, really hurt. So I think that's why he's not in a big amount of trouble. But, man, throwing punches to kick this after a fight. You ask Paul Daly, that got him thrown out of the UFC. He threw a punch with bad intentions, but he did kick him. And when I went back and saw it, I was like, oh, yeah. You can see, like, Travis Brown coach yelling something at him, and then him put his foot up and kick the man. And I'm like, nah, man, you can't. That's assault. You can't kick a man after a fight is over just because you don't like him. And Travis Brown coach just seemed like a jerk. Yeah, because why are you yelling at Verdum at the end of the fight? Because your fighter lost? It's like, look, your fighter lost because of a lot of reasons. I mean, really, it didn't seem like his head was in the right place. But, yeah, I don't know if the UFC plans on doing about that, or if the Athletic Commission plans on doing anything about that, or if anybody plans on doing anything about it. But, or they just going to let it slide. But that's a... Yeah, you probably won't see that in too many replays. So, but yeah, that was just my thoughts on CM Punk. I'm happy that I got to see the fight. I'm glad that he challenged himself, and it's inspiring, and he had a lot to lose, and he did lose, but I think he won in the loss. He showed a lot of people, if he was able to go back to WWE, he showed a lot of people that he's got a lot of character. A lot of these weak-minded people and people complaining about nothing, that he was willing to go out there and get beat up on and take on a really tough kid and take the chance of losing and looking like, having people do this, dissect him to pieces and say he shouldn't fight and say he shouldn't do this and say blah, 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 blah. But while you sitting at home on the couch saying whether or not you think he should have fought or not, he was in the cage fighting. So there's a lot of people go their whole lives and never going to challenge themselves in that way, and he took the chance, so kudos to him. It's easy to sit behind a desk and sit on a chair and say what you could have, should have, would have did. It's easy to sit down. It's easy to sit and look at a fight, and I always take this into mind. It's easy when you've been watching fights for a while to look at a fight and go, okay, he should have saw that right coming. He should have saw that leg kick coming. Like when I was watching the Verdum-Mielke fight, I was like, Verdum's going to run into a right hand. And then he ran into a right hand. And I was like, if he doesn't stop chasing him, he's going to run a right hand. Look, it's easy to see that when you're sitting on a couch. You got all the best camera angles. You ain't in no danger, or any of that. It's more difficult when, haymakers are flying by your chin and death is flying right by you. So, I always have more respect for the guys that are willing to take the chance and climbing that cage and take the chance, because, man, you literally can have your life change. Like, when I watched Rumble Johnson, I said it before the Rumble Johnson fight, and I said after. I said, Rumble can hit you hard enough to alter your life. So, these guys are risking brain cells when they go into these fights and, take on top-level competition. So, man's got heart. I say CM Punk, man's got heart, man's got guts, and I'm happy that he did it. I hope he gets to fight again. I hope he goes somewhere where somebody can take a little bit better care of him. But, in UFC, it's a dog-eat-dog world in UFC. So, that's my thoughts on it.